question on the exam, notice it says problems. Number 3, 30 points. 30 points. I'm going to own a rental house. No, it says it's income producing. That qualifies under 1031. I'm going to take a rental house sitting on a piece of land, and I'm going to trade it. I'm going to trade it for another rental house on another piece of land, and I'm going to receive a rusty old truck. Bill, let me see. You're going to take the fair market value of the what you receive. That's the house on a piece of land and the rusty truck, and you're going to compare that with the adjusted basis of the old house on the old piece of land. That will be your gain realized. That'll be worth 15 points. The other 15 points will be your gain recognized. Gain would be recognized to what extent?
Boot.
The boot. And what's the boot? The trunk. Yes. The trunk.
So the gain realized was the fair market value.
Yes, let's go over that again, Tracy. For the gain realized, take the fair market value of the new house and the fair market value of the new piece of land it sits on, and the fair market value of the truck. So those 3 items that you're receiving at fair market value, come up with the total. Subtract out the adjusted basis of the old house and the adjusted basis of the old piece of land that it sat on. That difference will be the gain realized. And the gain recognized will be basically the fair market value of the truck, because the truck is booted. And the only reason that qualifies is it's rental property. It's not my personal residence, that would not qualify. It's because this is a rental property that I own, that I'm trading for another rental property. All right, let's look at one more handout, then we got to go to the bar. Well, the potato bar. I think the other bar might be more appropriate now, but anyway. We'll look at 1033 briefly, then I think that's a nice stopping point. This is the involuntary conversion. Now, the one I put on this example is the one that's on the exam, and that's eminent domain. But what are some more typical involuntary conversions? One was in a movie that just opened last weekend. Earthquake, that's right, San Andreas. Go back to the 70s, one of Bill's favorite eras. Earthquakes, asteroids hitting the earth, I think that was in the 80s. Hurricanes, tornadoes. One of my favorite films, and I haven't seen it in years, The Towering Inferno. You see that one? Well, they said that's pretty realistic. Fire breaking out in a high-rise building where you have trouble getting out. So fire, flood, earthquake, etc. On the exam it's condemnation, but it'd be more typical if it were one of these catastrophic events like the flooding they've had down near Houston. Here they're going to give me $900,000 condemnation proceeds. If this were an involuntary conversion from a disaster, that would be insurance proceeds. Cost of my property was $600,000, depreciation was $200,000, so my adjusted basis was $400,000. My gain realized, this is the economic gain, $500,000. Look at the bold print. You must reinvest in property similar or related in use in an amount at least equal to the condemnation, put down or insurance proceeds, or insurance proceeds. in order to avoid picking up any gain on the condemnation or disaster. I want this to be more than just eminent domain. By the way, the rules for similar or related in use are much more stringent than they are for like kind. That won't be an issue in our class for the exam, but if you have this in real life, watch out. Again, there's a time period involved here that I'm not testing, where you have to identify or reinvest the proceeds. How much would I have to have reinvested here to avoid picking up any gain up front whatsoever? 900,000, right? Because that was with the condemnation. But on the exam, I don't want to do that because that would take away all the fun. So I'm reinvesting in this example 800,000. So I received proceeds of 900,000. I'm reinvesting 800,000. So I have a taxable gain recognized this year of 100,000. Cost basis of my new property. Take the purchase cost, 800,000. Subtract out the gain realized but not recognized. I had a $500,000 gain realized. I only had to recognize 100,000. So that's a difference of 400,000. So my cost basis of the new asset will be 400,000. Now on the exam we have just one question. I'm going to own a garage where I house my favorite fixed asset, trucks. And the state, Rahm or Governor Rauner or someone's going to condemn it under eminent domain. Now, I'm going to take some of the condemnation proceeds, but not all of them. And I'm going to do two things. On the north side of town, I'm going to buy a smaller garage for half of my trucks. That will qualify. On the south side of town, I own a warehouse. And I'm going to remodel that warehouse to convert the warehouse into a garage where I'm going to house the other part of my trucks. Please note that that will qualify under 1033 because I'm converting the warehouse into what? A garage for trucks. So both of those expenditures will qualify, but they're not going to be as great as the total condemnation proceeds. The question, I want you to show me the gain realized, that'll be worth 2 points, and the gain recognized, that'll be worth the other 3. I am not asking for bases. Because somebody asked on Tuesday night, well, how would you determine the basis? Because you'd have to do a proration. I'm not asking for bases. I just want gain realized and gain recognized. Now, Bill, for the multiple choice answer, which do I mark? Either one. Label which is the gain realized, label which is the gain recognized. Okay, I think it's time for you to huddle up to the bar, go next door,